Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Transylvania County. I'm Janice Cannon, your worship associate for today. I'm so glad to see all of you here today, that you made it with the time change and everything, and we will gather here in peace. Thank you for joining us. We are a congregation who welcomes all people from all walks of life. Each person brings worth, diversity, and dignity that binds us together to create our thriving congregation. I'd like to welcome any guests we have today. Thank you for taking the time to walk through our doors and join us for worship. Please join us for the coffee hour after the service to get to know us some. Announcements. Reverend Bob is accepting specific requested school snack donations for elementary students. There's a sign-up sheet on the counter outside, and it has a list of what kinds of snacks are required or wanted. Today is also the day for our can drive that benefits the Bread of Life. It will be happening in the parking lot right after the service until 1 p.m. Cans of food can also be left in the boxes in the lobby, but that's kind of full right now. So if you can do a drive-through up to the sanctuary side door, and your contribution will be taken at that time. Wonderful Wednesday is this Wednesday, March 12th at 5:30 p.m. There's a sign up for the dinner in the lobby. The presentation is given by, after the dinner, is given by Dr. Abby Whitaker, and her talk is about understanding our politics, if I can read my writing, through children's television. Sounds like it's going to be really good. Our speaker this morning is Sharon Gublo, retired from Ithaca High School in Ithaca, New York, where she was a school counselor. She and her husband, Joe, a retired high school business teacher, moved to Brevard in 2017, and Sharon immediately found her home at UUTC. From the time she was a child, Sharon enjoyed being in nature, playing in the woods, climbing trees, wading through creeks, swinging on vines, and swimming in lakes. She loved to hike with her family in the Poconos each year as the autumn leaves were at their peak. This love has followed her throughout her life, and she continues to find beauty, peace, and connectedness in the forest. Sharon has 3 sons and 1 granddaughter, Rose, and her hiking companion, Iris, the wonder dog. Let's take a few minutes in silence as we hear the prelude to bring us into worship. Thank you, Carlene. Our chalice lighting this morning is Hymn to the Light by David Bremen. Our light is the light of the sun, keeper of all we love. Our light is the light of the earth, provider of sustenance. Our light is the light of all living things, life precious like our own. Our light is the light of each of us, bound together in need and hope. Our light is the light of the cosmos, keeper of all we know. This is our special time to lift up in lights the things we have brought into this space in our hearts. This morning we have a prayer for our nation and for trans people. Let us come together to protect them. A candle to let us keep in our hearts all of the peaceful resistors, specifically the Montgomery pilgrimage led by Reverend Bill Livingston this coming week. This is from Marcia Coe. A candle for the prayers for safe travels for Rue and Seal as they travel from Florida to Seattle to live in a more tolerant and inclusive city. A candle for the millions of poor who will die of preventable illnesses with the termination of almost all our foreign aid. A welcome back to Mary Maxwell, who just returned from Florida, and good luck on upcoming knee surgery. A candle for Richard Packer, who has been in the hospital this week. A candle for Mark Horwitz, who has also been in the hospital this week. Loie is grateful for legs and arms that can still have a tough hike. We light a candle for those online or here in this room for those things they have held silently. May we remember that the sharing that we do here or out in the world helps us to weave together the fabric of community. Thank you. Our opening words this morning are from Rachel Carson, Silent Spring. Those who contemplate the beauty of the earth find reserves of strength that will endure as long as life lasts. There's something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature, the assurance that dawn comes after night and spring after winter. Our opening hymn this morning is number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning. Please stand as you will, and the words will be on the screen.
Sing we our joyful song. Good morning. Today, our words of wisdom is the book, The Dandelion Seed. It was written by Joseph Anthony, illustrated by Chris Arbo, and it's a great book that matches both the theme for this month, which is trust, and trusting and learning from nature. The Dandelion Seed. Maybe I forgot to turn it on. There we go. Okay. Only one seed was left, the little dandelion seed, who was afraid to let go. But the winter wind began to blow. The strong wind blew. As the strong wind blew, the tighter the seed hung on until it felt the wind blowing right through it. The seed left the garden behind and became part of the wind and was carried away. And the world was even bigger than the seed had imagined. It was also more frightening and more lonely and more beautiful. The more the seed saw, the smaller it felt. And it wondered where it belonged. And the seed landed when snow began to fall, and it listened in silence as peace covered it like a blanket. And finally, spring came. Sunshine warmed the air and the soil, and the little seed began to grow tiny leaves and roots. And the leaves spread wide to gather the sunlight. Its roots reached deep to drink fresh rain, and soon the seed flowered into bright, delicate dandelion it was meant to be. And it shared its green leaves with deer and rabbits, and it gave sweet nectar to bees and butterflies. And then almost overnight, the life that began as one little dandelion seed ripened into many. They each became part of the wind and were carried away. All except one. Don't be afraid, whispered the dandelion. The wind and the sun and the rain will take care of you. Let go, and you will see. You will see. That's a short, sweet little book, The Dandelion Seed, but it reminds us to trust and to learn, and to trust and learn in nature wherever we are. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. It's time for our offering, and before we take the offering, Lisa McHenry is going to come and talk about our special giving opportunity this month.
Good morning. I'm Lisa McHenry. I'm a member of UUTC's Social Action Team, and I want to talk about SAFE, the organization that will benefit from our charitable giving this month. I'd like to share an excerpt from the story of a survivor of domestic violence. These are her words. The changes started slowly. He hit me for the first time, and we started arguing. The next thing I knew, I was on the floor. I left immediately and tried to process what had just happened. I had always said that if a man ever put his hands on me, I would leave. I never imagined that I would ever be in that situation. I couldn't leave. I had nowhere to go, no family, no way of supporting myself. I couldn't tell anyone, so I went home. The next day was as if nothing had ever happened. The following weeks turned into much of the same. I was always covered in bruises from him grabbing my arms or punching me in the chest. He would knuckle punch my head and legs, and I always apologized. I knew my marriage was going to end. I just needed to get my degree so I could support myself and my kids. When I was assigned my first advocate at SAFE, I was struggling to come to terms with what I had gone through. I didn't understand how the person who told me daily that I was his world, his life, his best friend, his everything, would be capable of putting me through that pain. It took a lot of talking and hard work to admit that that person died that night. She doesn't exist anymore. Instead, she's made the way for a new me. I'm not a victim. I deserve happiness. I earned happiness. I know my worth. I'm stronger than I have ever thought possible. I can do hard things. I will always be grateful for the people at SAFE who helped me. I love the person I am today, and I am so proud of how far she's come. I am a survivor. SAFE serves Transylvania County, Cashiers, and Southern Jackson County by providing a safe place to stay for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. They provide a warm, safe environment with access to showers, food, beds with fresh linens, towels, a laundry facility, phones, internet and computer use, shoes, clothing, and personal grooming items, local transportation, case management, and many other services. The cost to provide these services is approximately $47 per night per person. SAFE charges nothing. SAFE's shelter, Stacy's House, can house 19 residents. It has family rooms, rooms to accommodate folks with physical challenges, rooms for people who identify as transgender. Since some people stay in an abusive situation because they fear for the safety of their pets, SAFE opened the pet barn with kennel spaces and outdoor runs for dogs and a cat house. SAFE accepts anyone leaving an emergency domestic violence and/or sexual assault situation. Over the past year, SAFE has provided community services for 161 survivors, including 34 through court advocacy, 1 through hospital accompaniment, and 55 through case management and/or counseling. They have provided emergency shelter for 53 survivors this year. They also work to educate the community about prevention and enroll people in Medicaid through the Healthy Opportunities Pilot. SAFE operates 2 resale stores, SAFE's Attic and the Attic 2. Proceeds from these 2 thrift stores help fund the services and programs provided by SAFE. Please be as generous as you can to help SAFE continue their valuable work. Thank you.
We take joy in having the ability to give from our hearts to nurture our UU experiences and support our community. The ushers will now take the offering. What is given in love, we receive with great joy. Thank you. Take a moment to get comfortable as we go into our reflection for this morning. Spirit of love, light, and life. We seek harmony on earth in the symphony of nature. We strive to attune to earth's rhythms that our lives may dance in sync with this creation. We draw upon the wisdom to nurture the balance of earth as we tread lightly upon this sacred ground. Spirit of love, life, and light. Behind every hospital patient is a story of strength and courage, where compassion thrives and kindness heals, a place where fear can be turned into triumph. This week we send our spirits of healing, kindness, and concern to Richard Packer and Mark Horwitz, who have both been in the hospital this week. And to Mary Maxwell, who just returned from Florida and will have knee surgery soon. Spirit of love and light. As we are bombarded with the different edicts coming in our country, let us keep in our hearts all the peaceful resistors and the millions of poor who will die of preventable illnesses due to lack of funding. A prayer for the trans people as we come together to protect them. We pray for the travelers on the road and in the air, that their safety may be foremost. Specifically this morning, Rue and Sel, as they travel from Florida to Seattle to live in a tolerant, inclusive community. Let us take a few moments in silence. And so it is.
Now, I want y'all to notice a couple of things. First place, as is frequently the case, the people on the podium up here leading the service are also singing in the choir. That applies even to Reverend Bob, who joins us. I don't know if it's a feeling that we need all the help we can get, or it's such a fantastic organization, he wants to lend be a part of it. And another thing is that Mark Horowitz, who was mentioned not once but twice this morning, is back with us. He was indeed in the hospital. He's the guy with the light blue knitted thing on his head over here. Not sure what you call it, but that's him. He's a wonderful, outstanding member of our bass section of the choir. And another thing, it matters not how late you are, you're welcome to sing with us in the choir. Yes, the choir is singing, but an important part, equally important, I would say, particularly in this piece, is the piano. Yes. Carlene.
One of you I'm fine, thank you. When I Am Among the Trees by Mary Oliver. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call out again. "It's simple," they say, "and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine." Sorry. I've always enjoyed being in nature. The wet, musky smell of the forest, the sticky, salty breeze of the ocean, the chill of the water on my skin as I plunge beneath the surface of a lake. I love the physical challenges of a hike or a swim and the beauty that surrounds me. My senses awaken and I feel renewed. But I never paid much attention to why I felt renewed. I just knew that whenever I was in a natural setting, it felt good. There is evidence that being drawn to nature has evolutionary roots. We evolved from nature and moved around in natural environments. As we have evolved, we've moved into houses, we drive cars, and we work on computers. But we have not adapted to this artificial environment. Our brains are still wired to move around in nature. So when we return to nature, it feels right. Neuroscientists know that being in nature has a restorative effect on our bodies. There are numerous studies that show that being in nature reduces the amount of our stress hormone, cortisol, in the body, and also reduces blood pressure and heart rate. Research has shown that death rates from diseases such as heart disease and cancer are reduced in areas where people live near nature. Viewing natural scenes produces serotonin, which reduces anger, stress, and depression. Trees and plants produce phytochemicals, which make it through our olfactory systems to our brains, thus reducing stress and anxiety, regulating pain, and boosting the immune system. It's no wonder we feel good in natural settings. When we are engaged in an activity, we are giving it our full attention. Being in nature is said to connect to our inactive attention, so it's not taxing our brains and we're able to be rejuvenated. A walk in nature is like meditating, giving our minds a break, being present in the moment. Once I understood how and why being in nature was good for me, I appreciated the opportunities to enjoy being outdoors. I could sense when I'd been indoors for too long and needed some forest therapy. But the more I was out in the forest, I realized that nature has even more benefits for us. It can teach us valuable lessons which we can internalize and use, especially when we need it most. I had surgery a few years ago. As someone who tries to live a holistic lifestyle, this was not setting well with me. I believe that every part of my body has a purpose, and to lose even one part of me could have negative consequences. But I went through the surgery anyway. Even afterwards, I was in conflict with myself about the choice I had made, until one day when I was on a hike. I noticed a tree which had grown up and around a boulder. The boulder had been in the path of the roots as the tree grew, but instead of impeding its growth, the tree simply grew around the boulder, some roots going over the rock or under the rock, and others grew around it. The boulder became part of the tree. The tree taught me adaptability, that like that tree, my body would adapt to whatever it encountered, even the removal of an organ. Trees have so many lessons to teach us. They are resilient. Many trees in the forest have toppled, particularly since storms like Fred and Helene. But at a closer look, one can see new growth rising up from the trunk. The determination of the tree to survive is amazing. Saplings dapple the forest floor, evidence that the felled tree produced offspring to continue its work. Downed trees offer shelter for so many other creatures in the forest. Birds, squirrels, chipmunks, and others find refuge in the branches of the trees that lay dying on the ground. I've seen 2 different species of trees growing together, their roots intermingling while their trunks spiral around one another, their branches rising in unison toward the sky. The forest is a place of teamwork, caring not only for other trees, but for other creatures in the woods. Trees nurture one another. The intricate root system of trees and fungi, called the mycorrhizal network, is a way to provide nourishment and information and share resources with others in the forest. It is often called the wood wide web. Trees have been known to bend in a certain way to provide sunlight to saplings. And trees do not discriminate. They help other trees, regardless of species. They even have a symbiotic relationship with humans. Trees breathe out oxygen, which humans breathe in. Humans breathe out carbon dioxide, which trees breathe in. Thus, we help one another. When I really look at trees, I feel a sense of hope for the future. We live in the land of waterfalls. I have seen many of them. The power of the waterfall plunging over the edge and crashing on the rocks below is awe-inspiring. As the water approaches the descent, it doesn't hesitate. It doesn't get scared and try to turn around. It simply flows over the top, trusting in where it is heading, joining in the millions of other drops of water to continue on its journey downstream. Sometimes, when I feel scared or reluctant to move forward, I think of the waterfall and trust that the universe has a plan and I just need to go with the flow. Sometimes the water finds a new or different path to flow through due to obstacles that impede its movement. It doesn't try to turn around or stop. paralyzed with fear or doubt. It washes over the obstacle or goes around it or under it, forging a new path and continuing on its way. We are often faced with obstacles in our lives, but with perseverance, we can find new paths, new strategies to overcome these obstacles and help us to move forward on our journey. We can look at each obstacle as an opportunity for change and growth. If the water had just stopped, refusing to continue, the river might just dry up. But finding a new direction helps the river to continue to flow. Before the waterfall approaches the falls, it is usually very calm, meandering through its course with ease. Suddenly, it barrels over the rocks, dropping quickly, roaring and crashing as it hits the bottom. Then it continues its peaceful journey until it reaches another descent. Our lives are often like this river, flowing easily and calmly through time. But suddenly, it changes course, and we need to adjust to this change. By remaining calm and moving through the roar and crash of change, we can trust that calm will once again be achieved. As we all witnessed recently with the devastation of Hurricane Helene, water can be so powerful that nothing can stop it. But once the storm was over, it was amazing how quickly the water slowed again, following sometimes a different course, but continuing to flow. Sometimes our problems seem to be too overwhelming to withstand, but with perseverance, we can face our problems with the hope that our journey will continue, maybe in a different direction, but still moving forward. How many drops of water are in a river? Each drop of water combines with other drops of water to make the river. If a drop of water were to leave the river, it would soon dry up and cease to be. Each drop of water has a purpose to join with the other drops of water to make the river. In the same sense, we are each an individual with a purpose. But together, with others, we can achieve so much more. We need one another. So in that sense, rivers and other bodies of water teach us about teamwork. Throughout the year, I enjoy the sights and sounds in the forest, and they change depending on the season. I love to hike in the wintertime, when the leaves are off the trees and I can see so much more. The greens of the rhododendron, mountain laurel, holly, evergreens, and ferns are so much more pronounced against the bare trees and dead leaves on the ground. The air is crisp and cold, sometimes numbing my face, invigorating my body. If it has snowed, there is a peacefulness and quiet that is not sensed at any other time of the year. But as the days lengthen and the temperatures grow warmer, birds and other animals become active, scurrying around, singing and chattering. Flowers start to emerge and trees begin to bud. Suddenly, it's spring and there's color all around and a sweet scent in the air. I'm amazed at how some flowers grow in places where it seems impossible. In between rocks, in a stream bed, or on the side of a stump. Another lesson in resilience and determination appears as the forest comes alive with flowers. Throughout the summer, different flowers continue to appear, and some stop blooming as the days become hotter. It's amazing how some flowers can survive in the heat of the summer, especially when there is a lack of water. They seem to thrive in an environment where others would surely succumb. But like us, flowers are all different and need different elements and environments to survive. As the days shorten and the air becomes cooler, fall flowers begin to pop up, reminding us that winter is coming. The spectacular colors of the autumn leaves bring beauty to the mountains and fill our senses with wonder. But soon the leaves drop to the ground, becoming a cover for the critters below, food and protection for the roots and plants, which will rest until next year. As the leaves rot, the air becomes filled with an earthy scent, different from the sweet aroma of the flowers. We too grow and change throughout the seasons, slowing down in the winter months, only to reemerge with a new awakening and energy for the future. Have you ever been in a very thick fog, not knowing where you are, but trusting that what you can't see is still there behind the wall of thick clouds? Hiking in fog can be dangerous, of course, but also very exciting. Even on the most familiar trail, things look different. You lose the sense of where you are, almost like everything has slowed down. You know there's a wooded stand of pine trees nearby because you can smell them. You know you're going uphill or downhill because you can feel it in your feet. Then suddenly the fog lifts, even for a moment, and you see your surroundings just as they would be on a sunny day. And you feel relief, and you feel safe. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a fog, metaphorically, of course. I can't see where I'm headed or why. I just sense that things are different. But I can trust that once the fog lifts, things will appear familiar again, and my journey can continue. As long as I'm in the fog, I need to rely on all my senses to carry me through. Darkness can have the same effect as fog, but bright sunlight can also keep us from seeing things clearly. Understanding the necessity for light and darkness, fog and clarity, can help us to move through hard times and into better ones. I don't mind hiking in the rain. It seems to wash everything clean, including me. Raindrops run off my hood and onto my nose, down my chin and onto my boots. I feel their coolness and awakening all my senses. The droplets fall onto leaves and seem to magnify their beauty. Of course, rain can cause a muddy mess on the trail, so caution is always needed. As we navigate through life, we need to be alert to the dangers and obstacles, but also aware of the beauty that can result. I love to hike because each trail I take is different, and even the same trail changes each time I'm on it. Trails are not straight and flat, but wind to the right, to the left, go uphill and downhill, over logs and rocks and roots, under trees. I enjoy the different experiences of each hike. My heart rate increases as I climb upwards, decreasing as I descend. Life is like a mountain trail, always changing, always causing changes in us. When I reach my destination, whether it be a majestic waterfall or the top of a mountain looking over the valley and out onto other mountains, I marvel at the wonders along the way. Each part of the trail combines to create a story that becomes my hike. As we move through life, We experience so many turns and ups and downs, so many wonders along the way. If we can look at the ups and downs, the climbing over and climbing under, the sudden turns, as pieces of the story that are built to become the best of us, perhaps we can learn to appreciate every change that we face, every obstacle, every disappointment, as well as every success and every joy. We are living in a time of chaos and uncertainty. Many of us are fearful, angry, confused. But we can look to the lessons of the forest to find strength within ourselves. Helene devastated our forests. Many changes occurred. Trees toppled, rivers rerouted, vegetation pelted by wind, rain, and debris. But as I continue to hike, I see evidence that the forest is rejuvenating, that even after the storm, new life is emerging. I believe the forest speaks to me, bidding me to listen, to see, to feel the lessons it has to teach me. The forest is my classroom for life, mirroring all that I am and all that I may encounter, and teaching me through its example of how I may navigate my journey. We can be an example to others in the way the forest is to us. Adaptability, resilience, respect, determination, cooperation, coexistence, trust, perseverance, hope, purpose, gratitude, diversity, rejuvenation, awareness. All are gifts we can give ourselves as we navigate through these troubling times. You don't have to hike mountains in order to experience the lessons nature has to offer. You can see them at the beach, in the ocean, in your local park, or your own backyard. Opening our eyes to the wonders of nature can open our worlds to all the wonders that reside in each of us. May you always find these lessons as you journey through life. Thank you. Our next hymn, 203, sorry. Our next hymn is number 203, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. Sorry, I lost my paper. You can rise if you're able.
Voice
closing words are inspired from an ancient Quechua prayer from the high Andes Mountains. Great Creator, grant me the light of wisdom. Mother Earth, bountiful source, help me draw strength from the ground beneath my feet. Father, Son, radiant child, fill me with the warmth and energy to face my trials. Mountain spirits who walk the wind, guide me on the path of resilience and determination. May the sacred waters cleanse my soul, and may the fires of transformation forge my spirit. In unity with all living beings, I embrace the power within me to overcome obstacles and grow ever stronger. Amen. Thanks, Canty. Oh, thanks, Don. The A team.
You guys did good.